2018.
Cheers, baby.
Cheers.
Love you.
Love you too.
Thought I would be making this video. We broke up. Good morning, welcome back to Morning Makaykay. If you are new, these are a Monday morning series here on my channel where I join you from my bed with no makeup on, PJs from last night, a cup of coffee or tea. This morning we are having some green tea and we just talk. It's a really authentic, casual conversation. I strip any lighting and I just want it to be really authentic and personal, but in like a really casual way, as if you're just chatting with someone at a sleepover or out for coffee the next morning. And I usually try to choose a very personal and real topic when I film one of these mornings series here on my channel, which is exactly what we are doing today. I'm pretty nervous to discuss this, but it's been on my mind a lot this month and I've journaled about it, and I just felt like it was a topic that I needed to talk about because to me, talking about what I'm going through is super therapeutic. Whenever I went to therapy, I would feel so much better afterwards because I spent an hour discussing my thoughts. So this morning, you're my therapy. And as you can tell by the title, we are going to be talking about 1 year after loss, 1 year later, kind of like a reflection video on my life since something happened a year ago. Yeah, so this morning we've got some green tea. It's actually a tea from my Sips By subscription box. If you're new, I do monthly tea subscriptions through this company, Sips By. They give you 3 to 4 different brands of tea per month, so you get to try a ton of new exciting tea that gets shipped to you once a month. You can take a quiz online and it will match you with tea that they think you'll like the best. I have a coupon code for you guys, so if you want $5 off of your first box, use my code Makayla5 in the link down below and get some new tea today. I definitely recommend it. This tea is out of my October tea box, but yeah, it's a really great subscription. I'm sure you've heard me talk about it before because I get a box every single month, but as someone who loves tea as much as I do, it's like a dream come true. I have some notes in front of me that I made in preparation for this video. Before we get started, please give this video a thumbs up, comment down below, and subscribe to this channel. We really are like one big family with lots of love to go around. It's never too late to join. All you have to do is hit subscribe. Also, don't forget to click the bell because this notifies you every time I upload a new video, and I always shout out the first comment on my social media, so be sure to be following me on Instagram and Snapchat as well. Before I say anything else, I want to state that I'm making this video for me as a virtual journal to capture emotions so fleeting as they are, to remember every single step of healing. What I do not want this video to come across as is me milking an old relationship, having people ask me, why are you still talking about that? Usually people don't bring up past relationships this much because it's not what this is about. This is about my own journey and my life and not the other parties, if that makes sense. And I'm using it as a good self-reflection tool, not to dwell on the past, but to realize how much can change in a year. So almost exactly a year ago on October 24th, 2018, my boyfriend of 2 years and I broke up. It was my first relationship, first serious relationship, first forever type of relationship, and it was really hard. I wasn't dreading coming up on that date this year. I was almost anticipating it because I wanted to really like see for myself how much felt different, how I felt different, how much has changed, because a lot has changed and we're going to get into that. Now that the time is here and it's been a year, it feels like that day was yesterday, and at the same time it feels like that was years and years and years ago, because this is a very big topic and there's a lot of background information that I feel like you need to have. There's a big reason why I'm wearing this shirt. This is actually the shirt that I filmed my breakup video in. If you missed that, I will link it above as well as down below. That explains the whole story as to what happened, why it happened, and how I felt in the moment. So definitely go watch We Broke Up and It's All My Fault. Looking back, I still feel like it was mostly my fault, but yes, I wore this shirt as like a little memory that like this is where that shirt started, and now a year later I'm wearing it to film this video. I also recommend checking out 2 other Morning with Makaykay episodes that I filmed quickly after that. One of them was how to get over heartbreak, and then the next one after that was navigating a new relationship after heartbreak. Both of them received really great feedback, and I feel like that really helps you understand what I went through the following like first months post breakup, definitely watch those videos as well. And if you're all caught up, hey, let's get right on into a year later, 1 year after loss. I'm not sure what I'm going to call this video yet, but something along those lines, because it has officially been 1 year since the breakup, and I can't believe how fast the year has gone. But then sometimes I'll catch old photos on social media when it's like 1 year later of being with my ex-boyfriend, and I'll think like, wow, I can't believe that was only a year ago, because it feels like a separate me, like that was a different Makayla, a different lifetime ago, because in a way that was a different version of me, and she doesn't exist anymore. She can't come to the phone right now because she's dead. I wanted to make this video more for people that may have gone through a really hard breakup and are feeling what I felt back then, or just someone that's curious. I don't really know, but maybe this video could help you, because I remember the first few months, weeks, days afterwards, I was at such a loss of my own identity. I had completely no idea who I was without him. The truth was, at that time in my life, I didn't know who I was independent at 23 without a boyfriend, because I had only known Makayla at 23 with a boyfriend. So it was a really big journey. I just remember crying every single day, waking up in the middle of the night, having those first few seconds of not remembering, and then remembering and crying in my sleep. I have so many videos of me crying because I film everything in my life. I remember crying at work, being pulled aside by my manager, and just crying because I couldn't hold it all in. That feeling of loss felt so permanent. I felt like it was never going to change. And then there came a day where it hit me, and I stopped what I was doing, and I realized, oh my gosh, I don't think I've cried yet today. And that day will come, and then the next day will come, and you'll cry, because healing is not linear, but it does get better with time. I wish I could give you a deadline or a timeline to explain when the hurting stops, but eventually it does stop. And I think there are so many different things that I did subconsciously and consciously to help with this. The biggest thing was that I needed to learn how to fall in love with myself, as corny as that sounds. I needed to learn who I was by myself in order to give her everything that she needed. Finding joy and finding myself was a really big part of healing in those first few months. I brought out my journal because I wanted to share with you a page that I wrote, which really helped me, and it honestly still helps me today. And I made this the first month or so after the breakup. Once I realized I was doing a lot of things that helped me in the moment feel better, so I made a list of 11 things, and the title says, I'm learning how to fall in love with myself. I'm just gonna go through them, all of them. Sorry, Mom. Here we go. Number 1. $800 treat yourself shopping spree. This was like the first night where I felt really good. I realized that everything I had owned, every single pair of clothing he has touched, he has seen me in, I had worn on a date, and I no longer wanted to associate my clothes with memories. So I purged my closet, I went to the Mall of America, and I just got myself a whole new wardrobe, new underwear, everything, because I didn't want any boy to have seen me in them. I didn't want any boy to have touched them. I wanted them to be clothes that only my eyes have seen and that only I had touched. Number 2, new nails, just a form of like breakup hair, you know, gotta transform yourself. Number 3, self-care face masks. Number 4, date night, dinner and a movie to A Star Is Born. And I don't mean going on a date with somebody else. I took myself on that date. I got myself dinner by myself, and I treated myself to a movie. Second row, and I saw A Star Is Born by myself, cried like a baby, but it was like really good. I wrote under that, I am really beginning to fall in love with dating myself. It feels good following your gut and wants and only worrying about pleasing yourself. I'm doing it all for me. I remember that night was like a really big turning point where I was like, hell yeah, I don't need no man. I can do this by myself. Number 5, I wrote this in all caps, sleep with someone. Be a hoe, a fun one. Yikes. I mean, hey, it helped. It just helped knowing that the last person wasn't my ex, and I just needed to like wipe the slate clean, if that makes sense. I don't recommend that. I'm not saying go do that, but it's just something that I realized helped me. Number 6, decorate your space. This is when I really like took control of my apartment. My roommate had just moved out. I transformed it in like a matter of weeks. I bought the rug, the couch, bookshelves, IKEA trips, like every single day. I really focused on my environment, because this is a quote from a book that I read around the same time, but your house is an extension of the self. It's like the outer form of your body, and you have to take care of it. It's your environment. So that's what I was really doing. Number 7, work harder than ever before. In order to redecorate my entire apartment, I needed to work a lot. So I was like working doubles every single day at the restaurant. Number 8, put positive mindsets into work and be proud of what you're doing. Instead of showing up at work being like, I hate my life, this sucks, it's slow, like I'm not making a lot of money, I just really like focused on the tasks in the moment, and it helped me enjoy work more. Number 9, focus on YouTube consistency. This This was like the time where I was like, I am not missing an upload day. I'm posting twice a week, Thursdays and Sundays. Let's get it. Number 10, yoga. I still do this, but yoga every single day, it's magical. It helps so much. And number 11, rip off the acrylic nails and start playing guitar again. Music is such a big healing component and form of therapy for me. I mean, it was my first tattoo. I have a music note on my ankle. So to be able to play guitar, I don't know if I've ever said this, I learned to play guitar from another patient at the psychiatric hospital that I was in as a teenager. We were both patients and she taught me to play in the lobby with the hospital's guitar. Playing guitar, it's like super therapeutic, but it always brings me back to that moment.
Butterfly, fly away. You've been waiting for this day all along and know just what to do.
That was my list that I made last winter though, and that was like the first big step that I consciously like felt myself healing and getting better and becoming like a different person. Just to summarize, another big thing that I told myself was that I was not going to look for another relationship. I was not going to download Tinder, Hinge, like any of the dating apps. I wasn't going to waste my time because up to that point in my life, all of my relationships or flings or whatever you want to call them, I met through an app or I reconnected with them through the app. And none of them turned out positive. Like nothing worked out. So I wasn't going to waste my time on a dating app. I really started to take Megan Rinks from her podcast, Don't Blame Me, her advice. She really pushes the mindset that like don't look for a relationship, focus on yourself, and as soon as you're doing that, like your relationship will just happen naturally. And at this point I was like, I'm not going to date for a year. I'll have my fun, but I don't want to settle down and date for at least a year. This is going to be my year. I wrote it on lipstick in my bathroom wall if you've seen my apartment tour up above, down below. 2019 is my year. No boy is going to mess with that. I made that mantra. I said it out loud. I wrote it in my journal. I told it to all my friends, and the very next night, my electricity went out. I texted my landlord and I asked him if he had any fuses or what to do because I burned a fuse and my apartment needed a new fuse. At that point, I think it was like 4 p.m. and I had to leave for work because I worked nights. So when I got home around 10:30, my landlord came over, he showed up at my door, I let him in, and I still haven't let him out. He's still here. If you didn't get that, that was the night where my landlord and I started to talk. Basically, that night, my landlord stayed and we talked for a little bit, and he texted me later that night asking if I would ever want to get drinks or go on a date with him. I could make a whole video on him and that whole topic because I'd always thought he was really cute. He mows our lawn shirtless every summer, and that was a bonus to living here. He told my roommate he thought I was cute when I moved in. Now I'm just rambling, but I knew all these little things about him, and I knew I had just made that promise to myself where I wasn't going to date for a year. I probably spent like maybe a total of 24 hours focusing on myself before my new relationship showed up at my doorstep, but I said yes to drinks, and we are still dating to this day. We'll be coming up on 1 year in December. Blows my mind. I cannot believe it doesn't feel like we've been dating a year, and at the same time I feel like I've known him for so much longer. I'm not saying you need a new relationship to get over a breakup. That happened so unexpectedly and so early on, not only in this year but like early on in the healing process of the breakup. And although we like started dating and hanging out in December, I told him right away about how I had just gotten out of a serious relationship and I knew I wasn't ready to date, and he kind of just waited and we hung out and we took our time. And I think that's why it doesn't feel like we've been dating for a year, because we started out really slow in the beginning, but it's been going really great, and over time like I knew when I was ready and I told him that, and we made it official. Yeah. Okay. To summarize, my relationship with Tyler and starting to date him really helped this last year, but I'm not saying that it was a rebound, and I'm not saying that you need a new relationship to make the breakup like feel better, but I know that I never would be where I am now with Tyler if I hadn't gone through like that initial hurt of a breakup in the beginning. This is going to seem random, but I promise it makes sense. But I hadn't prayed since I was like 12 years old, and post breakup, that was the first time in probably at least a decade where I started to pray again. It felt super weird, a little uncomfortable, but I just wanted to feel better. And I remember like praying for whoever was out there that I would meet, because I knew that every single breakup was one step closer to like the real deal, to the one. And so I was just praying for the one, wherever he was. Back to Tyler, I knew I would never be where I am with him if I didn't go through that initial breakup hurt and that faith and that trust that I needed to really trust him as a partner. So in a way, I'm really grateful that I had gone through that breakup, because it broke down everything I had only so that I could rebuild myself up differently into this new new person that was a different type of girlfriend, that had a little bit more experience and knew my faults and knew what I wanted to carry on over into this new relationship and what I didn't want to happen again. The funny thing is, my ex-boyfriend was a Gemini. We're both Geminis. It was a really big, stubborn quarrel whenever we would fight. Just two Geminis, and I told myself it was a bad thing. I would never date another Gemini. We're just too alike. We butt heads. It doesn't work out. Tyler's a Gemini. But so far it's been working out, and I haven't really felt that like butting heads feeling that I felt before. Tyler and I had a little bit of our, not like a first fight, because I still don't feel like it was like worthy enough to be like a fight the way that my ex and I would fight all the time, but we had a little bit of a disagreement. My ex and I would fight so often. I knew that was something that like I could not handle in a new relationship. And like I said, Tyler and I have been going out for like 11 months almost, and we've never had like a fight yet. We had like a really like quick, sudden disagreement where he got kind of heated really quickly. That was a moment with my ex where like we would give each other the silent treatment, we would butt heads. It was a moment where I really felt our astrological signs damaging our relationship strength. Whereas with Tyler, although he's a Gemini and I expected it to be similar, he came out into the living room and he hugged me and kissed me and said, "I'm sorry and I love you," and I cried some more, but like that was it. Like it was over, and I had never had a healthier slight fight be resolved. Is that what it's like being in a healthy relationship? I don't know, you tell me. First of all, I wouldn't even have appreciated that so much if I didn't go through the breakup and my ex-boyfriend and all of that. But also I think because of what I went through in the past, it's made me less reactive. Like I didn't want to fight back at all. I just left the room and told him I don't want to fight with you. And I think the breakup really helped me with that moment, and I can still look back and pinpoint moments this year where I think what I went through with the breakup has helped. For example, I lost my job in June. I'll link that video above as well as down below. I didn't get fired, but the restaurant shut down. We went to court, everyone lost their jobs. It was a really, really sad, sudden breakup. In a way, my breakup with my ex-boyfriend that I went through a year ago for this video, I feel like that helped me with the grieving process of losing that restaurant job that I loved so much. Initially, when I went through my breakup that I poured my heart and soul into, that I focused on work, that I tried to find the positives in it, and it helped. I fell in love with my job. I loved it so much. And when Tyler and I came back from Chicago and my coworkers told me the news, and I think I had 2 or 3 shifts left and we didn't know when the last day of work would be, losing that job felt like a breakup because suddenly I had to completely reimagine my future without it in it. And it was such a stable, consistent, loving part of my life that just vanished. I don't think I would have been able to heal the way that I healed over losing that job if I hadn't gone through that breakup. All I was feeling were like similar feelings. I was journaling last night, and sometimes when I journal, I flip open to a random page and I just read what I wrote in the past. I came across an excerpt from when the restaurant shut down, and I feel like it's kind of relevant. I want to read a little part of it, starting with talking about when I found out the news about losing my job. It was strange. I almost didn't believe her. It was shocking and it left me frozen. I still don't even want to say it out loud. I still wish it wasn't true and it's all over. I still wish I could turn back time or do something that could have changed the outcome. But my home, my family, the only job I've ever kept this long and absolutely loved, it no longer exists. It's over. I lost everything. Way back in August 2018, the owners decided to just stop paying rent. Like, why? So finally, the mall evicted us, requesting us out immediately, and sued us for $300,000, which is what we owed in rent. We went to court May 31st, and I sat at B1 with Maddie, Myron, Joanne, and Lexi, drinking margaritas and anxiously waiting to know when we'd all lose our jobs, and if we worked that night, that weekend, etc. I cried when our manager came back from court and immediately moved Tequila off the wall, running around with her head cut off. It was over. This restaurant gave me absolutely everything in my life, and I loved my job. Not only that, but I was good at it too, and I made money. I just bought a new car, my rent went up. I just went on an amazing vacation, and now I lost my job. I'm not really sure what this means for me or where my life is going next, but I hope it's good. This restaurant made me so happy, and I feel like I'm being pushed out of the nest too soon and being forced from my family. This whole thing feels like a bad breakup. because I'm being forced to rethink and define my entire future. I loved this restaurant and I'm not ready to move on. In a way, I feel like I went through 2 breakups this last year. What stuck out to me in that is the part where I say I hope like whatever comes next is good. I feel like I've healed from losing that job and I think it's very good. I couldn't imagine having to go to work tonight and serve tables. I loved serving. It was a big part of my early 20s, and I will link a video about all of the serving tea drama stories above as well as down below for those in customer service. I think you'll really like it. But I couldn't imagine doing that now because I'm very, very content with my life. And just like with the breakup, that feeling of loss and hopelessness and that hurt, it went away. I feel like a completely different person. At times, I miss the old me. But I also love the me now and who I am today. Just like everything else, I think it's another form of loss, letting my old self go so that who I am now can blossom. Those are all the notes that I have on what I wanted to discuss in today's video, but I really just wanted to kind of pinpoint moments this past year that stuck out to me since the breakup. I'm a really big self-reflecting type of person. It's why I journal so often, and it's also why dates mean so much to me because a year ago, I was in school, I was constantly fighting with my boyfriend, things weren't working out, and we broke up on a Wednesday night in late October. And I sat on the curb with him until like 1 in the morning crying and talking and processing. And the next few months were super, super hard. I made a ton of decisions that I today don't think I would make or could make again. I was lonely, not for another person, but like lonely without knowing who I was. Yeah, in a way I felt empty. I didn't even have my cat Marnie yet. She just walked across my carpet and I just realized like you weren't in my life a year ago. I feel so much more full and like at peace, and I feel like I have so much more, not materialistically, if that's a word. I just feel like my life has really come together in the last year, and going through that big loss has helped it. My biggest fear with this is that someone's going to comment what one of my ex's friends commented on my Instagram, saying some shit about how most people don't go on and on about their ex-boyfriends like this. It must mean you're not over him, like some bullshit like that. I'm over him, but I can't help but reflect on me back then and how much in my life has changed. Like I said, it doesn't matter who my ex-boyfriend was. I don't freaking care about that. The focus is like my life a year later, not like, oh my god, it's been a year since we broke up. Like, I'm very happy right now, and that's what I want to tell myself through this video. It's what I want to try to tell someone else out there who might need this, is that you can go through what feels like the end of the world and feel so hurt and at such a loss for yourself, thinking that your entire future will change and be different, because it will be, but it's going to be okay. And it gets so much better. Like, I have Marnie now, my cat, and I have this whole apartment to myself, and I've decorated it for me. I have new clothes that he has never seen or worn or touched. Not worn, he has never worn my clothes. That he has never seen or touched. I have new memories, a new car that is completely mine, that he's never, well, he will never know. My relationship is different. My job is different. My life, my dreams, my hopes. Like, I've graduated college this year. I am technically self-employed, which is a code for unemployed, but I'm still making more money than I did when I was employed. I'm just really happy and content with who I am right now, and I wanted to share that in this video. I did mention that dates are super important to me, and I wanted to really emphasize that before we go. That was the last thing that I wanted to talk about, because I believe in numerology. Like I said, I'm super spiritual. I believe in numerology and astrology, all of the stars and the moon and all that stuff. That being said, I'm always on the lookout for dates, trying to find important meanings behind things. I do not believe that anything in life is random. I believe everything happens for a reason. Everything is connected in a way that we might not be able to see because we're simply the puppets down here on this planet. I also think the future has already been thought out. So with all that in mind, I always write down my dreams, because maybe I should make a video on that. But a lot of my dreams actually turned into visions. In fact, I don't know if I ever even, oh whoa, did I ever talk about this? It's about the breakup, but when I was with my ex-boyfriend, I had a dream that he proposed to me and like how he did it in the dream. And that night when we broke up, I asked him, because he told me he knew how he would propose to me, and of course he didn't tell me. But when we broke up, I wanted to know. He told me, and it was the exact same way in my dream, which I had written down from like months before. So that's why I always write down my dreams, because so many of them have already come true and turned out to be visions and not just dreams. So with dates and everything, I make a point to remember to write it down, because maybe in a few years that date will be super important to me. Like, you never really know. So when Tyler and I first started to hang out, I wrote down the dates of like everything that had happened, especially when I realized that they started to correlate. November 24th, 2018 2018, Tyler asks me on a cat date. He used my cat that he knew I had as a way to try to like hang out, because he said he was thinking of getting another cat, so he wanted to see how his cat would hang out with mine. Just a way to like try to hang out, if that makes sense. After asking if my boyfriend or husband would be moving in, and I said no. That was November. December 24th, he leaves spare fuses on my door. I say it's the best Christmas present ever, and we are texting a little. He already asked to hang out again, and I said yes. A month later, January 24th, we are officially together, and I feel like the luckiest girl in the world. I am also absolutely terrified that he might change his mind and I could end up hurt again. That's an example of what I was mentioning at the beginning of this video, where I knew I wasn't emotionally ready to be committed in like a serious relationship, so we took it super slow, but it took a lot of faith and trust to really trust him and know that I could always end up hurt again, but he's not going to hurt me. So after writing out that page, I realized that like the 24th of every single month has been so wonderful, and like so much can happen. Starting with like the first time he asked me if I had a boyfriend or a husband and tried to like ask me out on a date in November 24th, to when he asked me out on a date December 24th, to when we were like dating January 24th. And it wasn't until I wrote all of that out before I realized, holy crap, October 24th, a month before all of this, was the date that my ex and I broke up. And that cannot be a coincidence. October 24th, my ex breaks up with me. November 24th, Tyler enters my life. December 24th, we are going out. January 24th, we are dating. Blows my mind. And I wrote in this journal, everything is cyclical. Number 24 means something. So then I looked up the number 24. The first thing I read when looking up the numerology of number 24 is this quote: "Love is a strange emotion. It is ever evolving, lost and transient. With time, one realizes that love and togetherness are two different things. Very few people are lucky enough to experience the two emotions simultaneously." I was shook. Number 24 meant so much to me, and I looked it up, and it had so much to do with love and how very few people were lucky enough to feel love and togetherness. Just seeing that as the first quote just blew my mind. Love. How crazy is that? All the signs are there. This has to mean something. And then another quote, 24 is an indication that whatever you are doing now is getting you closer to your goals. Keep up the good work. 24 encourages you to think about what you are most passionate about. Pursue that. And yeah, I totally think that on the 24th of all of these months, I was getting closer and closer to a goal that I might not even still realize is out there, but something is happening in the future. And right now, what I am doing and choosing to spend my life like doing and pursuing, it's getting me to that end goal. The numerology number 24 is a relationship number, companionship. There is a desire for long-term security. It means health, healing, security, family, companionship. So crazy. Things have been happening on the 24th for a reason. Whew, which is why I knew I had to upload this video. October 24th, 2019 has come and gone. I would have uploaded this video on October 24th, but I wanted to make it a Mornings with Makaykay, and those go up on Mondays. So think back about big dates in your life. Try to connect the dots, because I guarantee you that nothing is random. There's like gotta be a reason why all of this has happened and is happening. So those were the first few months after the breakup, and this was the first full year after the breakup. 1 year after loss, and heck, I'm doing better than ever. I've learned so much this last year. I've read so many books. I have watched so many films and seen so many new TV shows and heard so many songs. I've gone to so many new places that like, maybe you're not even trying to get over a breakup. Maybe you're just trying to heal by yourself. I hope this video has helped you, because I am blown away by my life right now. I don't want to go back to where I was a year ago. I know that for sure. I'm excited for what's to come, and maybe in another year I could film another video and see what happened in this upcoming year. But I don't want to pinpoint this date forever as like on this day since the breakup X amount of years ago. So instead of saying like a year since the breakup, maybe it's more like a year since the first day of my life. This is the first day of my life. Swear I was born right in the doorway. That's what I feel like. So maybe I will do this video in a year from now. But instead of that being 2 years since the breakup or 2 years since loss or whatever, it'll be 2 years since the first day of my life. And my life is kind of crazy. Oh, I couldn't resist throwing in a TikTok reference, because I have been all over TikTok these last few weeks. Follow me on TikTok. And that is it for today's Mornings with Makaykay episode. Thank you so much for watching, for listening, for understanding, and I feel so much better letting out all of those thoughts. I had a lot on my mind. I remember dates forever. No matter how many years have gone by, I still know the same date as to when big things or small things in my life had happened. So to hit this mark, be able to reflect on everything and feel this great, I just had to share it with someone. so I really appreciate it. I know this video was really long, so I doubt anyone is still watching at this point. If you are, leave yellow heart emojis in the comments below because yellow is my favorite color and the yellow hearts are like my favorite heart emojis. Thank you so much for watching, for listening, and I hope that you enjoyed this Mornings with Makayla episode. I always love filming them because I feel like we're like so close, like I'm just talking to a friend. And I'll see you really soon with a spooky video this Thursday. Bye!
Luna, hey, no.